Time appropriate greetings everyone and welcome back. In this video we're going to use Microsoft Excel to make forecasts using 7-point moving averages and 30-point moving averages. This is going to represent averaging over periods of 1 week and 1 month. Then we're going to use the mean squared error to choose which of these is the best forecasting model for our data. Consider the daily closing price for Apple stock over the 1-year period spanning April 25th, 2019 to April 24th, 2020. Let's use the two averaging techniques to make forecasts over this time period and then use the best one to make a prediction for Apple's April 27th stock price. Note that April 25th is a Friday, so April 27th is the next business day. Let's start with the 7-day moving averages. Select the 8th day, May 6th. Now let's make a forecast for this day using the average of the first 7 days. Our forecast for day 8 is $206.61. We don't actually need to forecast this day since obviously we have the actual closing price for this day, but we are going to use this mock forecast, so to speak, to compute the errors of this technique. In short, we're going to compare what we saw, the $208, compare it with what we predict, the $206, do this for every single day, and see how close what the forecast would have been to what we saw. That's how we're going to compute the mean squared error to see how good a 7-point moving average is. Drag to autofill this 7-point average all the way down to April 27th. Now we have our first prediction for Apple's closing price on April 27th, $278.41. Take a note that this is stored in cell D267 because I'm going to make a reference to it up at the top here. Let's compute the errors now for this forecast. In the square error column for day 8, we'll take the square of the actual observed closing price minus the forecasted price. That's the error, and then we'll square it. So this is the error of this observation, and then we'll square it to get the squared error. Actual minus forecasted. $3.49. Select this cell and auto drag it down to the bottom. Notice that I didn't drag it all the way down to April 27th. Since there's no observation for April 27th, it doesn't make sense to compute a squared error for April 27th. Having computed all of the squared errors, we'll move up to the top again, and we'll compute the average of these squared errors by averaging this column of squared errors. The average squared error for all of these days from day 8 all the way to the end is $79.91. That's a pretty good squared error. That means that on average we were about 9 off each day. Let's compute now the 30-point moving average. We'll start in day 31 and we'll calculate the average of the first 30 days. Be careful that you're calculating the average of the first 30 observations. Don't accidentally select the forecasts from the 7-point moving averages here. Our first forecast for day 31 is $191.45. I'm going to compute the square error here. Again, observation 190.15 minus the forecast 191.45. Square that. Squared error is $1.70. I'm going to select these and autofill them all the way to the bottom. Notice that it calculated an error for day 254, April 27th. I'm just going to delete that since there is no error because there is no observation here. We now have a new, seemingly lower forecast for April 27th. Using 30-day moving averages, we have $260.09. Make a note that this is an F267, and we'll reference this up at the top. And finally, we're going to compute the average error of this forecasting technique by just taking the average of all of these squared errors. The mean squared error for 30-point moving averages then is $364.42. This means that the 7-point moving average is providing a better forecast for April 27th since it has the lowest mean squared error. So we predict that Apple's closing price on April 27th is going to be $278.41.